So we'll start with the event known as First Light. Not much is known about this event, but what is known is that it affected the entire world and transformed technology, government, and life in general, including giving people different and strange abilities. These kinds of people were effectively known as Radiants. Given the name, we know that it must have involved light, but we don't know exactly what the first light is, whether it was just something like really, really bright in the sky or if it was more physical, which brought what is known as radiant night, which we will talk about in a moment. Either way, we know that the event was big and bright and seen around the world. Due to these events, the Valorant Protocol was eventually formed, which pulled together people called agents who were gifted in some way. Some agents, such as Cypher, also known as Amir, were gifted with just natural talents to be able to create what's called Radianite technology. As of this recording, the set of individuals who use Radianite technology include Cypher, Killjoy, Raze, Brimstone, Breach, and most likely Viper falls into this category, but I have seen sources which theorize that Viper is actually a Radiant. Other agents were actually transformed in some way to give them abilities. These agents include Phoenix, Reyna, Jet, Sage, Omen, possibly due to a result of Kingdom's experimentation, but that has yet to be seen, and of course, the newest agent, Skye. As of this recording, of course, by the time this comes out, the newest agent will probably have come out already. More than likely, he is a Radiant as well. So let's move on to Radianite and what it is. Radianite started to appear shortly after the first light. It appears both in lore and you can actually see it on the maps as well, especially in Haven. It appears that even in the lore, there is still ongoing research into what Radianite exactly is. However, I took the time to do research on my own based on geology. Land plant, it appears that Radianite want to cluster together. There's also something about the long-term exposure or contact that may contribute to the people known as radiants, but certain properties may also need to be met by the person. Otherwise, people like Cypher would be considered radiants due to their contact with the Radianite. Obviously, they aren't radiants, they don't have any form of special powers. Who exactly the enemies of the Valorant Protocol are very unclear right now. I've seen things ranging from Kingdom being the main antagonist to possibly agents from like another dimension. So far, the majority of evidence agrees that Kingdom is the reason that the Valorant Protocol was created, and I have to kind of agree with that, mainly based off of the voice lines of Cypher and Viper. Cypher's voice line includes, "However pretty their lies are, they're just sucking my city dry." And Viper's is, "The lies we told the city just to pry it open and suck it dry." Both of them were talking about Bind specifically. You can also see Kingdom everywhere you go, in almost every map, including the training grounds, but mostly in Haven, possibly to harvest the Radianite. Icebox and Bind are obviously places where they're experimenting with it, and Split is obviously Kingdom headquarters. As of this recording, there's not a lot known about Kingdom yet, but I'm pretty sure that we will know a lot more in episode 2. So as far as we know of right now, the Valorant protocol was not a government-run operation, although it's kind of unclear who or why Valorant protocol originally came to be. It could be that the original purpose was to create kind of like an X-Men styled group, but that's not what it ended up turning into. On the opposite hand, based on the play, it's more than likely never meant to be an X-Men kind of group. It's also unclear who the antagonist of the Valorant Protocol is at the moment. but I'll get to theories at the end of the video. Based on Sova's voice line Captain Killed after Brimstone is killed, it appears to be run by Brimstone, but I don't know if Brimstone is the person who created the Valorant protocol, but for sure he's the one who runs the day-to-day operations and missions. So up until now, I've been pretty much trying to just keep to the facts, but I do have my own theories about everything. Most definitely, Kingdom is not an ally of the Valorant protocol, and it's obvious that in Icebox they're experimenting with humans. Now, this is a very old theory taken from the early days from some of Omen's voice lines. I'm not going to go into Omen's voice lines right at the moment either. The Valorant protocol was more probably created to make sure that Kingdom didn't get their hands on more Radiantite, but it's unclear of why they would think Kingdom's a threat, because by all accounts they just look like a corporation. Based on this analysis, I would say that during the in-game planting of the spike, that's obviously the Valorant's mission, and diffusing it as Kingdom's. I would have to say First Light might have been more of a meteor-like event that forced Radiantite to grow in certain places, such as Haven. But Radiantite is probably more metal-like than rock-like based on the fact that you can use it in technologies, and in fact Cypher uses it for some of his wires and cameras. As of right now, as of this recording, I do have some reason to think that maybe Brimstone created Valorant, maybe even after leaving Kingdom, based on the fact that he still has the Kingdom logo on his attire. But I do want to get more into that in later videos. The rest of the videos in the future, I'm going to dive more into the personal lives of each agent. So let me know down in the comments which agents you'd like to see next. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you guys don't miss a single part.